topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning to the Garden State, New Jersey. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where for the last 16 years, we have brought you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. About 3 weeks ago, I had a listener write me and said, do you endorse all of your experts? And first of all, we have them on the show, so that alone is an endorsement. But our expert this morning, it has become more than just an endorsement. I am personally, we're talking Medicare today and Advantage Medicare. I am personally just seeing how he handles his clients, how he handles his business. I'm not only endorsing Stephen Fromm, but I have decided to have him handle all of my Medicare business. That's how much I appreciate him. He does our New Jersey show, and he also we do a show that covers just about every state on the East Coast. Let me welcome you to my friend, Stephen Fromm. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing? You look great in our new apparel, so we greatly appreciate that. You can't see my shirt, but now we can. So we appreciate all of your support. It's definitely helped grow our brand, our business, our name. So we appreciate this opportunity.
So, Stephen, it's like everything you do is first class. I mean, Stephen, I call it a care package. It was a combination of things that he sends out to his clients. And in fact, I'm going to show you something. It might not seem like a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to me. My little fan right here at my desk, just things like that. And, I'm wearing the hat, Stephen Fromm, the Fromm insurance hat, my shirt. I mean, everything this man does is so first class. And when you're dealing with the demographics, Stephen, older demographics, it is so important that you handle them with kid gloves.
That is definitely true. There's everyone has different personality. Everyone has different needs. So we need to make sure we take the time to understand what is important to all of our clients. We've actually changed our client needs analysis. One of the very first questions we always ask someone is, what would they like to accomplish during our appointment today? So that allows me to really understand what's important to them. So as we go through their needs and understand everything, we're able to make recommendations that will best fit their healthcare needs. So.
I know firsthand, Stephen, that a lot of people do not understand Medicare Advantage. There is so much to know about. You basically do all the legwork for them.
That is true. Yes. In our Medicare 101 presentation, we talk about that. Some of the myths regarding, how we get paid. We get paid commissions by the insurance companies. There are no bias. I'm contracted with over 25 different companies at this time. Again, our goal is to find the best situation for that person. What will be the best healthcare, based on their needs, and we look at various carriers to see what is going to complement them the most.
I tell you what I like, and people see, Stephen, all these national commercials Just you can take any of them. They give you a toll-free number. You call them. You're dealing directly with that company. Whereas with Stephen, he represents about, like you said, about 25 different companies. So you're going to get more than just one plan. You're going to have choices. Whereas if you call these companies direct, they're only going to talk about their company only.
That is true. And that is true. That's the big differentiator between working with myself and going direct to a carrier. And again, I work with numerous carriers. And one of the things we're really focusing on right now, our largest campaign is helping seniors turning 65. They're turning 65, making sure they're enrolled in Medicare at the right time to avoid any lifelong penalties. A lot of seniors are not aware of that the initial election period is 3 months before their birthday, a month thereof their birthday, and 3 months after their birthday. And I do talk about that a lot in our Medicare one-on-one presentation. I say workshop or webinar that is now located on our website as well. So I've been doing a lot of education regarding turning 65, explaining to seniors Part A, Part B, hospital doctor, 80% coverage, and then helping them understand where does that 20% gap get picked up from. And we discuss Medigap plans, or some people call them Medicare supplemental. I prefer to call them Medigap plans because it is filling the gap. And I go through with them explaining how the different carriers work, how the pricing works, and how the two different plans we mostly focus on, Plan G and Plan N, how are those coverage options, how do they differ between the two carriers, and why the premiums differ between the two carriers. So there's been a lot of education lately regarding enrolling someone in a Medigap plan to make sure they understand it, as well as which plan will best fit what their needs are, based on their healthcare needs. So it's been very exciting to do that for everybody.
Well, I got to tell you, I think I'm like the perfect host for this show, Stephen, because everything a person can do wrong, I did in the beginning. And I had to learn the hard way. Instead of just getting an agent like yourself, because I had a bad agent. And what I called a bad agent, he was lazy. He showed me one company. It turned out to be a good company, but he could have offered me so many more deals, and he didn't. And then I had to pay penalty because I didn't know when to start.
That is very true. And that's why this campaign we're running right now on Facebook with respect to, someone turning 65, to make sure they watch our Medicare one-on-one webinar and then book an appointment with us so that we can walk them through the proper steps of enrolling in time, like you said, to avoid those lifelong penalties for Part B or even prescription drugs. So it's very, very important for us right now. Your show has allowed us to honestly think differently, and like the things that you're mentioning. So I'm in the process of building out a video library on my website. So all of these different topics we talk about, Medicare supplemental, Medicare Advantage plans, cancer, heart attack, stroke, recovery, 7 mistakes to avoid when enrolling in Medicare, just as an example. So I'm putting a library together on my website right now. I have about 12 different videos I'm recording. So a lot of these questions that we talk about, someone could go directly to the website, watch one of the videos, and get educated. So that's our part, as we always talk about, Steve, education and clarity, education and clarity. So that's why you made me think a lot about what would be the best way to reach the masses, and the best way would be make these videos. So that's what I've been doing every night, making videos.
And, Stephen, people are afraid they think they're going to be embarrassed because they're uneducated about this. But I know you get instructions every year, learning about new things going on in Medicare. We're in the Medicare Advantage enrollment right now. Is that correct?
Yep. Still until March 31st, someone is enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan. And maybe they decided that the plan they chose during the annual election period is not meeting their current needs. And I've had that happen quite a few times already this year, that we look at some other plans that we think will best suit their needs and help them get enrolled in that plan. Or sometimes someone will contact me and they're in a Medicare Advantage plan and they like to go back to original Medicare. So I need to explain to them how that process works with a Medigap plan, because a lot of times, most times somebody will have to go through underwriting to get a Medigap plan. So that's important that they understand how that works, you know. So again, constantly learning, constantly educating, but I love what I do. So it's so fun to make a positive difference in someone's life. It's very, very rewarding.
Can you explain umbrella coverage a little more?
Sure. That's a great question. We appreciate you asking that. So Medicare we consider original Medicare, the Cadillac of insurance, very comprehensive. Medicare Advantage is also very comprehensive, but every insurance policy does have some gaps. And one of the gaps, for example, on original Medicare is dental, vision, and hearing. So a lot of seniors don't realize that original Medicare does not include dental, vision, and hearing. So we have to educate them regarding that and how we can help them enroll with a carrier to get dental, vision, and hearing. Another topic that we always broach is cancer, heart attack, and stroke. There are a lot of, first of all, there are a lot of non-medical costs that you will incur if should you get diagnosed with a cancer, heart attack, stroke. And in addition, there also are medical costs and procedures and medications that will not be covered by Medicare. So that does leave some exposure issues. And we have a list we go through with every client we talk to, addressing those topics, talking about, hey, these are some procedures and drugs that may not be covered. So you have to factor in those costs, as well as you have to factor in your non-medical costs, your travel, your lodging, your food, you're out of work, maybe you need some home care. Those are things that, not everybody thinks about. I just had this conversation in depth with someone yesterday, and they thought Medicare just covered everything when it came to cancer, heart attack, and stroke. And once we walked through everything, they realized that, wow, I do have exposure issues. And so we always recommend a cancer, heart attack, stroke policy, and we have certain dollar amounts that we always talk about with our clients. So that is a big one. And then something that a carrier that has recently made changes to is their recovery plan or recovery insurance. And this insurance product is tremendous. I say that because it really helps when skilled nursing. A lot of seniors don't realize that after day 100 for skilled nursing, there is no coverage. Everything is you 100%. So this new plan talks about how we can provide coverage for someone after 100 days for skilled nursing, as well as this plan also allows someone to use these funds towards assisted living. That didn't exist before. So this is a tremendous plan allowing seniors to look at, hey, I might have some money available to cover some costs for assisted living and not have to dip into my retirement assets, which are taxable. So yes, this is a non-taxable plan, and it allows someone that protection. So it's a great plan. We go really in depth with this plan, educating the advantage of it and the cost. A lot of seniors, maybe they never applied for long-term care insurance, or maybe they got denied, or they can't afford it anymore. So those are the three things we look at. And with this particular plan, if they should qualify, based on the underwriting questions, it's an excellent plan. It's going to afford you a lot of protection for, I think, almost up to 720 days. So that's a big span of time. We're talking 2 years. So I'm still learning it. Just came out, but I know it's a great plan based on what we've done with it so far. So that is a big gap for umbrella coverage right there.
People don't understand how expensive assisted living has become.
Yes, national average each month is between $6,000 to $8,000 right now. The national average in New Jersey, here we are in New Jersey, it's more of the like 8 to 10,000. So times that by 24 months, and you're going to get a very large number. So that's why we talk about these different products to help someone pay. Like I said, maybe they didn't apply for long-term care, maybe they got denied or can't afford those premiums. It's important that we discuss these products with you.
Stephen, I don't know if you know this, but we're talking about an age demographic of 65 and up.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the older people get, the more they toss out their mail, their mail meaning they think it's just an advertisement.
Mhm.
And I know I get from my company, I get so much I call junk mail. So people will tend to throw out mail, but I'm bringing this up because I know there's a lot of companies that are pulling out in different counties and different states that you might have thrown something out telling you that they're pulling out of your state and they're not going to be covering you anymore. So if they have an agent like you, you're going to know this.
We definitely know that way ahead of the time. We get notifications from the carriers that letting us know, hey, we're not going to be offering this particular plan in this particular state or even in this particular county. So at some point, it's going to end. So we want to make sure our clients understand that, hey, I'm here to help you. Let's do an analysis of other plans that may be out there for you to possibly enroll in. And it's interesting, you talked about throwing out mail. We're just about to launch a postcard mailing for turning 65 here in New Jersey. And I take no credit for this. Judith, my fiance, designed this card. And I really believe that if someone gets this card in the mail, that they're probably not going to throw it out because it's
really
beautiful. It says we are accredited. And then if you turn it over, it shows all of our pertinent information. You got it. You're looking at one. So, I think that these type of cards will get someone's attention. So we're just about to launch a turning 65 mailing here in New Jersey. And it automatically will allow the senior to go right to our Medicare 101 webinar to start with to begin the educational process. So we're hoping that no one throws this beautiful card away. So Judith did a great job designing that card.
And we're supposed to have her on the show. She's ill today, but hopefully she'll be back with us maybe on our national show. I bet the audience would love to meet her. You give her so much credit.
We're going to have a special guest on the next show. My mom's in town. My 83-year-old mom.
Oh, good.
So she's going to talk about why she loves original Medicare. So she will be here for our next show. So
beautiful.
Where's she from? Grandmother next week. She lives in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So
okay.
She's in town to become a great grandmother next week. So she's very excited about that.
I can't wait to have her on. Stephen, what is, I don't understand, why does it take the government so long to let you know what's going to be available for the next year?
That's a great question. There is so much going on right now with the federal government determining, what's right, what's working for Medicare and what's not working for Medicare. So those changes are fluent. I'm fortunate enough to be positioned with some great, we'll say, uplines, people that I report to that constantly keep us informed and educated about these changes. For me, as an independent agent, it's hard for me to do everything I do. So I'm fortunate that I'm able to rely on people that will educate me regarding the government and legislation changes. So I'm blessed to be with those folks. But it is very fluent.
Well,
things are changing always.
I remember last year you could not tell us what the new rates were going to be until the very last minute.
Yeah, we're not allowed to discuss, for annual election period. You have to wait until that October 15th period of time to discuss, changes that are coming for the following year with your client during that period. Cannot discuss them prior to that.
Stephen, what's the biggest question you're getting now?
The biggest question we get now is, honestly, it's pretty basic. I don't understand Medicare. It's complicated. It's confusing. It's overwhelming. Will you help me? Will you hold my hand and walk me through this? And the answer is yes. As you know, we talk about on the show a lot, client for life. So that is the very first thing I stress with everyone I talk to. Hey, listen, I'm here to help you, not just today, but throughout your life into the future, because things will change. Your healthcare needs will change. And we want to make sure that we have you positioned correctly for those changes. So that's the biggest question, honestly. I don't understand Medicare. And that's where I come in. The expert comes in to help and educate and provide clarity.
I got to tell you, I can't wait to see what you're going to be able to do for me next year. I'm on the Advantage plan. I got to tell people that people would tell me, well, the problem, and I'm talking about HMO and PPO. You said you want to go on a PPO because you want to be able to select your doctors. But I got to tell you, and I've told you this before, Stephen, I'm on HMO and I've had to use 2 or 3 different specialists. They have all been wonderful.
And based on your needs, that plan works for you.
Yes.
And that is why we do our in-depth analysis with someone that's looking at a Medicare Advantage plan, making sure their doctors and the medications are covered, understanding what's important to them and whether it's going to be an HMO plan for them or a PPO plan, and explaining the difference between the 2 plans, how important it is. So I always, when I speak with someone regarding Medicare Advantage, I always make sure that after our call, we send them a follow-up email explaining everything in detail that we just covered, because it's a lot. And during our calls, I always tell someone, hey, get a pad and a piece of paper to make some notes. But we still reinforce that by sending a follow-up email to everybody, because I feel that that's important. We covered a lot of information and we want to make sure, again, you understand it. So that's one of the things that we hopefully differentiate us.
I've got a kind of a personal question for you. Do you find, again, as you get older, you kind of get set in your ways. Do you find that people are nervous about going with another company that maybe they've been with for 3 or 4 years?
Of course. And that happened a lot during the annual election period. I had clients that were with their carriers for 4 or 5 years, and now that carrier was not going to be offering a plan in their area anymore. So we had to go through and choose a different carrier for them. And of course, they were very apprehensive at first. They loved the carrier. They loved the program. So I had to, find a plan that was equal to, if not better than what they had, and explain to them the differences in those plans. So yeah, that's a very, very important topic. Like you said, you've been with someone for a long time. And this applies for Medicare Advantage. It also applies to prescription drug plans. They're very fluent as well. Things have changed in the prescription drug market. The cost, the premiums have changed. The cost of the medications have changed. So again, someone may have been with one carrier for years, and now things have changed and they may need to adjust. And their first question to me is, how is it going to affect my medications?
Right.
So we have to walk through that step by step and send them a breakdown of those costs. So yeah, there's a lot of they're very apprehensive at first, and that's where I come back in. My job is to explain everything in detail, educate you, letting you know that, hey, we are making the right decision here. They want to know that. They want to be, that reinforcement.
Stephen, tell people how they can reach you.
Well, they can reach us by calling our 877 number, which is 877-801-4440, or they can call me direct at 908-268-2356, or they can go to our website, www.frommeis.com. There's a contact form on there, as well as we just changed everything regarding the book. We used to be sending out a digital copy of the book. Now we are sending a hard copy of the book. Someone can go right on the website and click on the button. It'll come right to me, and we will mail them a hard copy of our book now. And finally, one of the things that we're doing here in New Jersey, in Somerset and Hunterdon County, we're going to be doing our first in-person workshop for people turning 65. And it's going to be on March 26th at 5:30 p.m. So if someone is in Somerset or Hunterdon County, we're going to have it at the Stony Brook Grill in North Branch. So if you're interested in going to our first ever in-person Turning 65 seminar, please give me a call, 908-268-2356. Thank you.
Stephen, I got to tell you, you are God sent. I am so glad that we have you on the Ask the Experts radio show. We're going to see you soon, I guess, and we'll see your mom.
You're going to see Mom next show. Yep, Mom will be on here. I've already told her. She's got her shirt. She's all ready to support the team. Already. It's a requirement. You got to wear the shirt. So I already told her when she goes back to her building that she has to wear the shirt all around the building. And every time she goes to an event, she's got to wear the shirt. So let's see where that goes.
Beautiful. Hey, Stephen, we'll see you again soon. Thank you so much. Stephen Fromm, I'm telling you, folks, if you need a good agent when it comes to Medicare, Stephen is the best. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.